Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Monday, guys. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well this season. Got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Monday, guys. Want to talk to you all about 12 things that's going to be important this season. Some of these things we've already chatted about before. We're going to kind of just update a few things as well as maybe mention a few more. So, if it's for you, tap in. All right, 12 things. Listen, I mean, sometimes I forget what number I'm on, so I'm just going to probably say next. We're going to see how it goes. No specific order. But let's start. Number one, being very, very mindful and very, very tapped in not to allow others to waste your time. Time is something that you will not get back, and it is very, very precious when you are on the route, in your route to destiny. Very, very important because each day requires something different, right? God may need you to, I don't know, sit still this day for he can give you certain downloads. He may need you to do this day. He may hit you and say, hey, I need you to strategically move here. You got to be so guarded that you do not have people wasting your time, because here you are over there, you're running errands for this person, you're doing this, you're picking this one kids up from school because she been at the club too long last night, you're doing this. They're wasting your time. And you really have to be selfish in this season, right? And this is not easy for a lot of people, especially for myself. Again, with some of us, we're just so used to being that go-to person. But this is a season where God is calling a lot of people into a selfish season. Again, selfish is not a bad thing. It just means that you're putting yourself first. Others get the overflow. Well, where sometimes it's you're running off of overflow when you're giving everything in your cup to everybody else. But now it's vice versa. This is how close you are to destiny. Again, some people are already in destiny due season, and they're somebody emailed me yesterday about that. They feel like they're in due season, but it's like, what's happening? Right? I know I'm here because it feels great and etc. I don't see no movement. Well, remember that there's different levels in due season as well, right? Just be thankful you made it in, honey, because most people don't. Most people give up, right? So you're in due season, but it's not like God is just going to take you to due season and just boom, throw everything at you. No, he's going to still watch you. So I'm going to give you pieces and pieces. I'm going to watch you here to see how disciplined your flesh is. I'm going to watch you here. So you're in due season, right? Just pass your test and you will keep climbing these levels in due season, honey. All right, next one. Everything, let me tell you something, honey. Woo! The struggle is real sometimes. Everything does not need a response. Everything does not need a response. Everything does not need a response. Some things just, listen, okay. I hear you. If it's a text message, smiley face. Okay. Listen, distractions come in so many different forms. And because the enemy knows now that the things that he would typically distract you with, you've already mastered that, so it's no longer a distraction. So now he's trying strategic ways. He's strategic, so you got to be strategic as well, right? So what happens when you have a disagreement with somebody and it gets a little heated, or I don't know, you spaz out on one of your kids, because whatever. Like your whole entire day is focusing on, oh, I probably took it the wrong way. Oh, I could have said that different. Oh, you know what did he say? Oh, he was trying to be petty. I just caught that, right? So you're at work all day or wherever you are, and your mind is toiling on the woulda, coulda, shouldas and what you shouldn't have said. And listen, just in it with okay, because the enemy is trying to bring distraction so heavy because so many people are so close to breakthroughs, or whatever. He just being petty. So everything doesn't need a response. Hold your peace. Just hold your peace because you're going to need it. Next thing. Okay, so I believe privacy is so important. You guys know I always say that, right? Keep in mind, again, there's a difference between privacy and secrecy, right? But some people are so guarded where nobody can get in. I mean, absolutely nobody. Even the people that God sent can't even get in. because you're that guarded. So there's this whole foundation of brick around you. Maybe, you're paranoid because of narc abuse. Maybe you didn't trust anybody all your life because maybe your parent left you, right? But so you build these walls up around you, and I mean absolutely nobody, right? I'm very guarded, but I still have space for God-given people to enter. But of course, that takes discernment, etc., etc. So ask God for discernment. Again, for me, my opinion, how you know when people are sent from God is the peace that your spirit feels when you're around them. If your spirit have any inkling, any red flag, not you and your trauma triggers having red flags, right? Not trauma responses. I'm speaking about your spirit. Your spirit will feel peace. It's almost like you're just floating on white clouds or something. I don't know. Right? It's peaceful. So you're going to have to start trying to open up some space to be somewhat vulnerable, because God is going to be sending people to you, right? These are going to be partnerships, things like that, where they can't even get in. It's like, anybody's home? Anybody's home? And you're peeping out the peephole and running back and crawling under the table somewhere. So ask God to help you to be, if you are one of these very guarded people, right? Ask God to help you to be more vulnerable, but on top of that, be even more discerning, because you don't want to block. You want to keep certain people out, but certain people you got to let in. These are going to be people who really, really help take you higher. Next thing, praying partners. I emailed one of my good sis on here last night. Praying partners. Some of you guys already have that. I'm very, very, very careful about letting people pray for me. Honey, let me tell you something. That's with these big hearts, thinking that everybody got hearts like us, honey. You have a whole demon praying, holding your hand, praying for you. Right? I'm very, very, very careful about who I allow to pray for me or with me. If your spirit ain't right, if I feel it, don't you touch me. You're not putting them spirits up in me. But some of you, if you do not have praying partners or a praying partner, ask God to reveal to you. Well, ask, but your spirit will also alert you sometimes too, right? It can be some type of revelation you get. For example, many people are in due season. So meaning the walls are down. You're in there, but you got to still slay these giants, right? There's still giants in the land. So the spirit may alert you to reach out to somebody, because listen, these are a lot of giants up over here. Could you please stand in agreement with me, etc., etc., blase, fast with me, whatever. But some of you guys are going to be convicted to get praying partners, because you can't do it all alone. Number 8. Well, we talk about this all the time. Well, no. See, this is why I don't even do numbers, honey. And the reason why I say number 8 is because I have them numbered, but I'm not going in chronological order, I guess. Leave toxic people behind. I know we say this all the time, but let me tell you something, honey. We can say that, I leave this toxic person behind, but you're still mad. When I say leave behind, I mean leave behind. We're just not in a season where you can be going back and forth with a toxic person. I mean, you leave them alone for 4 days. Then you get lonely, you reach back out to them, or vice versa, right? And before you know it, you're back dealing with a toxic person. I mean, leave these folks all the way behind. Whoever they are. If they're toxic, they got to stay back there. You got to be focused. Toxic folks, stay back there. Next one. This is huge. And your spirit will really ping here if this is for you. No more bondage. No more bondage, no more secrets. No more bondage, no more secrets. Whatever has happened to you in your past, and you were taught to, you know how them old folks say, whatever goes on in my house stays in my house. Whatever goes on in my house stays in my house, right? And you got people who are still sweeping their traumas under the rug for different reasons. They're afraid of um, maybe family. What is it called when like everybody goes against you? Family. I don't know. Family clap back, I guess, right? Or they were conditioned because remember, let's just say for example somebody's violated. Well, what was the first thing that the person said to you? Be quiet. You bet not say anything. You did. So your condition, that's already your default setting, right? You get that from Pastor Blake's, your default setting. So that means you grew up and your brain advanced around that thing. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, right? Or you may have even been threatened. If you say something, then I'm going to wipe your whole family out. That type of foolishness, right? In this season, God is going to start pressing upon people, and it's almost like it's regurgitating. You feel it more and more and more and more in your spirit to release things more than you've ever felt. It's because God knows where he's about to take you, and that he knows your breakthrough and your blessings are going to be released soon. So the reason why it's pinging more in your spirit now, like it is already in your throat, right? It's regurgitated already, but it's in your throat. You just have to vomit it out. Now, that was, well, I don't know. I thought it was good, but that's a little, I don't know. I don't know what that was, honey, but I like it. So what does that look like? Somebody actually emailed me about that a couple of days ago. Only God can tell you. Only God can tell you. But some things, some examples could be, I don't know, you go and talk to that family member, or you go stand up against your family like, hey, listen, Aunt Susie have already molested all the boys, because boys get molested too by women. Let's keep it real here, right? Aunt Susie has molested by all the boys, and one day we were out drinking and somebody said something and all the boys in the family said, ooh, what happened to them? But they were laughing about it because their drunken uncles told them, oh, you're a man now, right? Not even understanding that is traumatizing for a little boy. But now you got toxic folks who don't know any better, just out of ignorance. Oh, you're a man now, you didn't. And now you got grown men who have mama issues, right? You have grown men who are obsessed. This is the thing now, right? Sometimes when you see younger boys, younger guys like older women, much older women, right? Granted, sometimes that is a preference thing. I think like as Usher, I think it's a preference thing for Usher. But I'm speaking about people who is almost like they intentionally are looking for like an old, well, I don't want to say it, but it's because it was their first experience. So sometimes your first experience of that trauma, plays over in your life. So now it's like, well, she was 30, I was 5, so now she's 80 and I'm 30, right? So this can go, I can take this about 50 different directions. So I'm gonna just kind of bring it on back. So that can look like having that conversation with the family members. That can look like never speaking to your family again, but never speaking to your family about it, but speaking to a therapist. Excuse me. But the therapist gives you boundaries about how to deal with your family, meaning, okay, you can speak, it's okay to speak to this person, that person, but if this person is still making you feel guilty about what you want to say or whatever, cut that person off. Or you can still talk to them, but you avoid family unions because people are drinking and all those spirits are opened up and it's going to trigger you. It's going to re-traumatize you all over again. Or just go and never look back. Just go and never look back. Who knows? That can also look like journaling, right? Get you a journal and be specific about what you write down. What has happened to you? Write it out. Call names. Write it on paper. Burn the paper, throw it away, whatever. That can look like writing a book. Let me tell you, somebody was telling me they wanted to write a book on their sexual traumas, experience, things like that in childhood, but they didn't want to out people or whatever. And I was telling him actually, you don't have to out anybody. You don't even have to say it's your story. right? You're just writing. It could be a fiction, right? But you're getting that thing out. And a lot of times, your actual traumas that you're struggling with are things that Satan is trying to make you keep in as a secret. That's really your calling. So that can look like never telling anybody that you were violated, except you and God, but you've already outed it. It left your spirit. So you're walking in the park and you're literally crying and telling God, even though he knows, right? You're telling God exactly what happened to you, how you were, who the person is. You're speaking it. It has to leave your spirit. If it doesn't leave your spirit, you're going to keep covering it up. You're going to keep masking it with addictions, food, cigarettes, drugs, porn, sex, this, because it's still in your spirit. It has to be uprooted and expelled. Ask God, what does that look like for you? But you're going to have to free yourself. God cannot take you higher. God can't trust you with certain blessings until you free yourself. That's heavy, right? Because I feel a lot of people just got that. Free yourself. Don't worry about them. Right? Whatever works for you. Some people are still dealing with trauma triggers and trauma responses because they're still living in the house with the people who violated them. So it could be a whole family house, like those houses that have like a lot of rooms and one bedroom is the basement and one did it. Like you're 54, but your uncle Paul, who is 93, done molest the whole family. Nobody speaks about it. They're sweeping it under the rug, and you're still living in the house with Paul. I think I said Paul. Uncle Paul. Every time you see Uncle Paul, it's taking something from you. Every time you see Uncle Paul, it's requiring you to mask and hold that stuff in. You can't even express how you really feel because it's bondage. It's bondage. You're only as sick as your secrets. This is why you have people who deal with addictions, right? Let's just say there's this guy, he made comments, he's on here as well, but he's on TikTok, but he do a lot of mission work in regards to hard drug addicts. Like seriously, right? So we were just speaking about this too, that people are so quick to judge alcoholics. People are so quick to judge drug addicts, but the majority, if not most or all of those people did not pick up a crack pipe and say, I want to be a crackhead. Didn't pick up a drink and say, I want to be an alcoholic. It starts because they're covering some type of trauma, some type of pain. Especially men, because women, we talk a lot, a lot, as I'm doing now, where men are typically, some are told to suppress their emotions. So when they take that first drink at 12, because maybe they see all their uncles doing it, or because uncles like that, take a shot, put some beer in that boy's bottle, all that nonsense, right? So now that first drink or that first hit of weed or whatever numbs something in him that he didn't even know existed. He didn't know trauma would make him feel empty and worthless and this and that. So that first drink or that first hit of whatever numbed that pain. So that's all they want, because it's still in your spirit. You have to keep, if it's in your spirit, then that means you have to keep cradling it. So yes, in my opinion, addiction starts off as a choice, but ends as a disease. A lot of people don't believe that addiction is considered a disease. In my opinion, yes, because at this point, your body is now chemically dependent on it. But the choice was to first pick it up. If that happened, because it was forced on some people. I can't get up off of this, so somebody need it. All right, back to my, guys, free yourself. Free yourself. You deserve it. Next one, trust and pull back. That means give it to God and leave it alone, right? We say 30,000 times a day, oh my God, just give it to God. Child, please. 2 minutes later, you're right back digging, you're right back worrying, you're right back checking the phone, right? Give it to God and leave it. This is another form of distractions that's going on now, because again, you say you give it to God, but now you're looking on social media, and now your mind is back toiling, and it's just another form of distraction. You really need to be clear-minded right now, and you can't do that with being distracted by every little thing. The next one, press in, press in, press in, whatever that looks like for you, reading your word, nature, I don't know, whatever pressing in looks like for you. Press in, because downloads are massive during this time, at least for myself, right? You're even getting downloads at the last minute. It's almost like God held a few things back, but now you're getting these downloads because, I don't know, maybe he told you certain things 6 months ago you would have bounced, right? So it's almost like, no, I'm gonna get you further in this thing. So even when I tell you that, listen, when you get there, it's still gonna be some X, Y, and Z, right? If I told you that, you wouldn't keep pressing. So keep pressing in, guys, because you're still going to be getting downloads up until the very last minute before it open doors. Next thing. This is going to actually tie into the video that I posted of Dr. Miles Monroe last night. Rest in peace. You're going to have to be okay with being alone. This is zero issue for me. But I'm an introvert, so it just works, right? Some people are truly, even currently, struggling with this as I read emails. And again, I'm a person who can see things from different perspectives, even though I'm absolutely okay, a person okay with being alone. I mean, I have people around me, don't get me wrong, but overall, I'm speaking. I'm a person who actually do better in isolation. I'm a person who do better in solitude. It's almost like I get more, I don't know. I guess because I don't have, well, maybe it is. I'm an empath. So when people are around me, people just pulls my energy, right? Pulls my energy in different ways. So when I'm in solitude or when I'm isolated and I'm by myself, it's like I get to focus. I get to hear. I get to strategize. I get to, right? But if you are struggling with being alone, ask God to show you why. You want to be sure it's not a seed that a trauma response, like maybe, I don't know, your parents left you as a child and never came back. So now you freak out when anybody wants to leave you, and you think if you let this person go to work for 8 hours a day, they're never going to come back. So you blowing them up 24 hours a day. Like, where are you? Are you sure you're coming back home? Are you sure you're coming back home? Or if somebody don't even respond to a text message, you're instantly thinking they're ignoring me, they don't like me, right? These are trauma responses for things that happened in your past. So you want to be sure that it's not coming from that. If it is, ask God to help you heal that area. This is another reason why a lot of people can't remain single or feel a need to be married, because they have a hard time understanding that God made you as an individual person. So you can be alone all day, but you're never lonely, right? Because there's a difference between being alone and being lonely, right? God is with you. When you're tapping into purpose, you're already fulfilled. Purpose alone will fulfill you. So you're not seeking a person, right, to make you feel not alone. This is why you have people who are married a lot and still feel alone. A person cannot fulfill you. A person is a beautiful addition that when it comes together through God, it's a beautiful, powerful addition. But you got to be whole first. You got to tap into purpose first. When you tap into purpose first, rather than allowing society to push marriage on you by a certain age, and of course, again, you still have to factor in the fact that if you want children, right? If you want children, or even consider the fact that the mate that you will meet later on will want children. So that's to have to be factored in. But the point I'm making is, don't go run and get married at 21 because that's what society says. Now, if you want to get married at 21, and truly that's a calling, marriage is calling for some people. So if you want to get married at 21 and start your family, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But that's not everybody's journey. So many people are so messed up in this world because they are living a lie. Everybody's not called to marriage. Everyone is not called to marriage. I don't know if there's, I don't know, right? I've heard this in the Bible that everybody's not called to marriage. So if any of you got, because you guys know, girls struggle with scriptures here. So can somebody please, in the comment section, type that scripture in regards to, God doesn't, you don't have to be married. I think you're supposed to be, rather than you're burning hell because your flesh, something. I don't even know. But everybody's not called to marriage. Of course, this is a smaller group of individuals, but God can use you more when you're unmarried. God can send you in planes at the last minute. You don't have to worry about making sure your husband got food for the week, that your kids are straight. Is your husband going to even do the girl's hair right? Like, you can just go. You can bounce, right? However, still be fluid, still have an open mind that the season may roll around at any given time and God calls you to marriage in that season. So even those of you like myself who've turned down engagements because you feel like God is using you more in your calling, a time will come where God taps you and say, all right, job well done, but now I need to bring an addition. But guess what? That addition is now from God at the right timing versus accepting a proposal at 21, a proposal at 25, a proposal at 30, I'm speaking in general here, guys, right? Just because it looks good, just because your friend is doing it, just because you don't want to be alone. And what happens? You end up alone because it ain't going to work. You're going to be alone because you're in the house with each other and don't even like each other. So you might as well be alone by yourself and get your purpose done, which will fulfill you, and not be desperate because the person that God has for you will find you in the right time, in the right season, but you got to be solidified within yourself first. Because let me tell you something. The person that God is going to send is a whole different kind of person, honey, than some old trauma, fools that, And a whole person who's already tapped into their purpose, a whole person who's already got their lives together, not to say it's perfect, right? Because there is none, is going to require some things from you. Who in the world is going to work all of their lives or build a certain type of life just to bring a liability in? Make it make sense. So someone comment, who was it on that Dr. Miles Monroe post? Who was it? Was it Shayna? And she was saying that it's true. However, if you have supporters, then you won't be lonely. See, here's the whole thing. And since I told you in the comment section, I truly, truly respect your opinion there. Right? I do. Again, I can see things from different perspectives. From my perspective with that is this right here. Again, it's equivalent of being married and still alone. I can't tell you how many people I speak to who are married, but they still feel alone. It's equivalent to having people around you. You can have, if God has called you to be, if God has tapped you and say, hey, you're different, you're unique, you're chosen, you're a leader, you're this, you're that, right? So, okay, that already separates you from the world. That means you're different. You just don't, this is why you don't fit in with them. You never felt like you fit in. So you can have 100 people around you. I have so many people around me and I'd be so ready for them to go home. You can have 100 people around you, but when you're chosen for whatever way God is going to use you, that's an internal thing. So support is just people. Support is wonderful because they support you. They're giving you motivation, right? They're backing you with motivation. But the loneliness, right, is internal, because only you can see the vision. Only you got the promise. So I can tell 50,000 people around me about what I saw, which I won't, but what I saw, and they can support me like, oh, yeah, that's great. Let me know, I got your back. But I can't explain to them in words what I feel in my spirit, because this is the spiritual realm. So as he was saying, it's almost like you have to be alone. And it's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing for people, again, who struggle with being alone. It's not a bad thing. To me, it's a beautiful thing to know that you are so set apart. You are not part of the crowd. A leader cannot, an individual in the crowd cannot lead the crowd. I mean, they try, but what happens, right? So as a leader, God has to isolate you. Certain seasons. There are seasons where you will feel like a part of the crowd because, I don't know, it just might be some whatever. But certain seasons, you are going to be required to be alone. Required to be alone. Because there are certain downloads, there's discipline. There's so much that comes with certain season that you can have, that you can't have zero individual pulling from you. So yes, as Pastor Blakes would say, it's not lonely at the top, it's lonely in between levels, because each level requires something different. Each level, one level just may be, listen, I done had a level probably about 2 years ago where it just seemed like that whole level was fun, right? It's like I was meeting all kinds of people. I was in everybody's room. Well, not everybody's room, but you get in different rooms and this and that. And it seemed like that the isolation part of it had left for a moment. I was just having a great time, right? On that level. But that level now I know was more about exposure to where he's taking me. So I need you to be a part of this so you can see X, Y, and Z. Because even though you're having a great time, I'm showing you some things. And what you did, right? I was still tapped in, but I was having a great time. And then boom, after that, back to a lonely level. Because now I got to show you how to fight these demons when you get there. Now I got to show you why this person is in bondage. I got to show you how to war against that. I got to, boom, you got to be quiet. You got to be disciplined. You got to shut down whatever fun nights you got going on. Shut it down. Turn off the distractions, because I got to get some things to you. I got to show you how to move. I got to show you how to build over here. I got to show you where I need you to move to. Relocate to NY, etc., etc., etc. I got to show you when to start this thing. I'm going to show you who's going to be your partnership in the future. I'm going to show you X, Y, and Z. You can't get that when you're constantly a part of the crowd. You got to be in isolation. But it changes. It shifts. So guys, know that being alone is a beautiful thing. Right? Don't see that as a bad thing. So many people see it as a bad thing. You're chosen. You're cut from a different cloth. So even though you may feel lonely now, when you get where you're going, it's going to be all worth it. You're going to be so glad that you didn't follow the crowd. All right, next thing. Well, we've been saying this all week. Put yourself first. Put yourself first, selfish season. Put yourself first. It's a struggle for some of us, especially my empaths. It's a struggle. The video I shared with Pastor Blakes on the community page, if you guys hadn't seen that video, please go back and listen to that video when it comes down to putting yourself first and stop allowing toxic people who don't even want help, to keep pulling from you. You are burnt out, beat down, and tired because 50,000 people are pulling from you. They need you. You're saving every single person. And most of these people do not want to be saved. They just love the fact that you're doting on them and you're this and you're that. And you are missing your whole entire destiny because your life is wrapped up in saving, what is this? Damsels in distress? You know what? I've never even heard of that. But you guys saw the video when I was at Teddy Riley's birthday party, and the guy said that. The camera guy said that. He saved me because I was a damsel in distress? Because I was cold? Damsel in distress? I don't know what it is, but help the girl out there. So, guys, transparent moment. Oh my God, I struggle here. I so struggle here. And the only thing that keeps me from not the only thing that keeps me from not butting in, right, is because I pay attention to my convictions. And then I have to be obedient to God. So if God says, nope, this ain't your assignment, then it makes it easier. But if I don't feel a conviction, I'm in there. Like just last night, I was leaving out a grocery store. And there was this lady, she was, well, I don't know how old she was, but she was older. And she was drunk as a skunk, right? I didn't realize that until I got more close up on her. But she was sitting and she locked her keys in her car or something like that. And she said she called AAA and they had her waiting out there for all these hours or whatever. And immediately, here I am about to stop doing everything I'm doing, where I'm supposed to be going to, probably give this lady a ride or just stay out there with her until we can get AAA out there. And I got convicted so quickly. And it was hard for me because I'm like, God, I can't leave this. And he was like, well, I mean, who are you? And why do you think you're the only person in the world who I use? You get in your truck and you leave because this ain't yours. I let you know who I need you to help. So the person coming right behind you out the store is the person I will use. But you can't even give somebody else another chance to be used because you're always volunteering yourself. I was like, well, snatch my edges. And guess what? Guess what? As soon as I load my bags up in my truck, there was a gentleman walking out the store, and guess what he was doing? Going back in the store to get a hanger to open up her cart. It's like, God. So you have to be intentional, guys, because you need you right now. You're so busy helping everybody else's vision, and yours is going lacking. So now you're helping everybody else be successful, but yours is going lacking. God then told you to start writing that book 9 years ago, and you're over here supporting, support is great, right? But find a balance. You're over here doing this for your homegirl, and your book ain't got the first chapter written. Right? You got 3 broken nails on your hand, but you're taking everybody else to get their nails done, right? Also, that's a trauma trigger that a lot of people don't know, a trauma response that a lot of people don't know. Because you already feel worthless because maybe some things you dealt with in the past, some insecurities, etc. Because you already deal with abandonment issues and nobody, quote unquote, wanted you, so they abandon you. Well, now when you help people, you feel wanted. You feel wanted. So it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, like, oh, somebody finally wants me. Somebody didn't even abandon me. And honey, when they use you enough, they will abandon you, and it's going to send you right back to a sunken place because the initial trauma was not addressed. Also, because when God requires you to sit still, if you have unaddressed trauma, it's going to haunt you. So it's easier to stay busy and involved in everybody else's life that you're busy. You ain't doing nothing for yourself. You got nothing done for yourself today, but you have done 1,000 things for other people. And sometimes because you don't want to sit into your own trauma so God can heal you. Because healing hurts. So you rather just go in X, Y, and Z. Well, in this season, God is requiring you to put up boundaries and tell people no, because guess what? Due season is around the corner. Major blessings is around the corner. And he needs you to work on you. It is your time. It is your time. You're up next. So he needs you to work on you. So he's going to start giving you convictions about boundaries, how to say no. You might say, listen, when such and such call you today, because they're going to call you and tell you, can you watch their kids because they got to go, on a little, mission tonight. Tell them you can't do it. And you're going to be like, oh, but she's not going to like me. Tell them you can't do it. Oh, I'm sorry. I already have plans. And you're going to feel like, oh, no. But the more you do it, you're going to love boundaries, honey, because it frees you. It's so freeing to not be pulled in 1,000 places, right? Except what you want to do. Next one. Well, that ties in with that one, which is basically saving people. Stop saving people because everybody don't want to be saved, honey. Right? You want to help the people that God pings you to help, without a doubt. That's a must. You've got to help people. We've got to help each other. There's no question about it. But make sure you're helping the people that God is requiring you to help. We got to stop watering dead grass. It's so a trauma response. Next thing, I think this might be the last thing. Yep, I think it might be the last thing. Okay. For all you, that ties in earlier too. You don't need anybody. Again, it's probably because you were already violated and burned so many times that you don't need anybody. You're going to need people in this season. You cannot do this alone. Again, you only need God. But in this season, God is going to require certain people to open certain doors, certain people to really war for you at certain times, certain people to whatever. You're going to need certain people. So be open to that. But again, make sure you are using your discernment, because you got to be very careful that Satan don't slip somebody in the crack and set you back. I think that may be it. I sure didn't know this would be oh my goodness. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.